Hello and welcome to About 6 Acres. I'm Juana.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're in the garden. We have been under the weather for a couple of days. And by we, really me. Sorry about that. That was not planned. But thankfully, no matter how we feel, the garden keeps going.
Yeah, and it's going because we've had a lot of rain.
So we're just going to try to tidy up a little bit, harvest a little bit, and just share with you what our garden is looking like. Nick is fascinated by a phoebe that has decided to build a nest over one of our windows. We'll show you next.
Yeah, it's a cool bird.
Over the corner of the window there, that's a phoebe nest, and she really enjoys having access to the garden. And of course, it's on our second story window. Not the easiest place to get and relocate her, so we've kind of decided that's going to be her home for a while.
I'm going to leave her there because she comes out to the gardens and picks out all the insects and stuff for her babies, so she's doing her job. But she's had all these choices of trees to choose from, and she chose our window. Opportunists. She's a phoebe, because actually her bird call, you can hear her say, Phoebe, Phoebe. That's what it sounds like. So that's how you can ID them. So we had talked about this plant before in our garden. It's a native plant here in Texas. It's the coral honeysuckle, and it's got these coral pink looking tubular flowers that attract hummingbirds and butterflies and moths. And it already went through its flowering stage. And this is the first time we see, I guess they're little seed pods. So little flowers would form on here. So we might be able to propagate and spread some seeds out, or maybe let the birds do it naturally. And it's a good viner, and it's done really well. This is actually a rescue plant that we took from the back of the property, so it's doing really, really well. We have two areas where we planted potatoes this year in raised beds, and we're about at the 70-day or so mark, and usually we harvest between 60 and 90 days depending on the variety, or we wait till they die back. So we have a few plants that are looking like they're dying back, but we have a ways to go yet. So we'll wait till they, again, either fall over, get really brown, and then we'll dig those up. But looking pretty good. I think we have a total of 4 varieties overall between this bed and the other bed. We do have some, looks like rust from a lot of the moisture and the rain that we've had. So we'll just keep an eye on them and make sure there's no blight or anything like that, but they're still pretty healthy. Can't wait for some potatoes.
Yeah, homegrown potatoes taste so much different than other potatoes, but these are looking very well, especially since we had a not so happy year last year.
So we're going to use some of these nesting pads. That is like shredded aspen that we use for the chickens. So when we change out the chicken nesting pad, we come over and we use it as mulch for our garden. So we're going to put that on the base of our potatoes. We cover the plants as we go, and it's, again, it's biodegradable, it's aspen, it's already been sort of in our compost area, sort of breaking down, getting loose, and it's got some, with the rain, so a little bit of moisture, easy to take apart. We just go in and apply it around the base.
We also had potatoes growing in grow bags, and so we're gonna hill these up with more compost because I ran out of the nesting pads. And so that's what we're gonna do, is just top it off with a little bit more compost. And the big reason to do this is you don't want your potatoes to be exposed to the sun. They'll turn green and then you can't eat them. So that's the biggest reason why you want to make sure you hill up and cover your the ground where the potatoes are. Our hunch is that in probably 20-30 days we'll be ready to harvest these.
So we have our elephant garlic, and they have scaped out. They have escaped. So we're gonna harvest these. We could have harvested them earlier. This is the first time we're growing these, but we got these from Epic Gardening. So I'm gonna cut them like, I don't know, like that. Smells good. Oh, there's a lot of moisture in there. A lot of moisture, which is good. And they are looking mighty healthy. Very like mild. In the back end it's a little spicy, but it's not as garlicky, which makes sense because it's a leek and not a garlic. The rest of our hardneck garlic that we have, to see if they have scapes, and there's a lot of leaves. Are they leaves? Leaf structures out there, so that is pretty good. So I don't see any scapes on them yet. Maybe that one soon. That one feels more tubular, but we might have some in a couple weeks. I think this one, because it's not flat, but I'm gonna leave it there. But they look so cool with that. Is it bilateral leaf structure? We're in our bed of softneck garlics that we planted, and they are doing well. And there's interspersed some of the basil, because we had, again, last year basil growing in the beds and we just let them seed. So they're everywhere, little tiny basils coming up. But there's normally softnecks do not have scapes. So they are growing really well. Really tall, cannot wait to harvest some garlic. We also have some peppers, some of the overflow peppers that we planted. I think that's a shishito pepper that's in there. And then we have some leftover radish and other leaves. That is good. Yeah. Maybe some turnips. A little tiny one. This is from our cover crop, so you can eat the leaves. Could have left it in there, but I don't think turnips are warm weather crops. So, a little turnip there. Maybe the geese will eat it, but turnip greens taste really good. So we have the music variety hardneck garlics, and we have some scapes starting to form coming out the center here. So we'll harvest those maybe in a couple days. But again, the garlic is doing really well this year. Again, it was another plant it, forget it, occasional fertilizer. So awesome. Look at it, all that new growth. Here's the scape. Onion bed. I think we're gonna harvest a couple of them because the greens have flopped over and some are dying back. So we're going to pull some of those. You can see how large the bulbs are in some of these yellow onions, which is awesome. And this year, it's weird. I think it's happened pretty much everywhere in East and North Texas. They have bolted out. So we know they won't store well, so we'll probably use these first, but we can use all of this, but we're gonna actually save some, let them go to seed. So let us know if you've let your onions go to seed, how you harvest them, how you process that, so you can plant them for next year. But so pretty. These are super thick. That one is pretty much ready to go. And these were the white onions. So you can see how floppy that was. Nice. And I like small to medium onions. I don't like them too big because we normally saute and fry with them and dice them up anyway, so a lot easier to cut. Less crying. You want, what are they, all the ones that bent over?
Yeah, I think so.
This one doubles. And the little one grow together with the big one. Cool. Where is, that's hard. So you know when the onions are ready, when that the greens stuff flop over and you feel it, and it, you know, feels dry and it feels hollow, as opposed to these that are still rigid and firm and have not flopped over yet, so they're still getting some food, feeding to the bulb. So a lot of these, yet if they're not flopped over, we're gonna leave. But this one for sure is ready to go. I know some people like to harvest everything all at once, but we're gonna do just like we do, like a check and go. Whatever's ready, we'll pull, because if we have too much that's in there, we're not gonna eat it all, and that goes to waste. At least we can leave it here, can mature a little bit more until we're done processing those, either eating them or freezing them or prepping them to store. So onions, you have more days. Those yellow ones look so massive. Those are probably the biggest ones we've had yet. The other onion bed is sort of like our overflow that we planted, sort of the smaller little starts. So we're gonna check on them, pull them, and we also need to harvest some of our lemon balm, which is taken over the bed. We'll take about 1/3 of it. Can use for teas and things, and then we got some weeds to pull because birds have dropped presents and the wind has definitely blown things in. So I think we have some like ragweed and stuff in here, or ironweed, but I'm gonna pull those out. That's a zinnia.
Oh, zinnias, yay!
Let's see what this is. There's so many of this.
That's why I thought maybe it was the daisies that you served.
I don't think
But
so.
I would think they would be showing some kind of sign. What do you think? Is that good enough, or should I cut more? I feel like that's a third.
So we have some of our hot peppers that are just starting to really get into gear and kick off. So we have some jalapenos, some habaneros. We're getting some flowers in there. And this was all from seeds that we saved when a friend of ours came over and made some salsa with Josh. I think we have some Jamaican reds. So they're like Scotch bonnets. We have our Sugar Rush Peach that we planted. We have, look at them. We got a few. Cucumber here. This is a new variety for us. It's going to be a bush variety. So about like 2 feet tall or so. So to sort of contain it, we put these cages on. It's not really going to grow up too much, but at least I'll contain it in there because our trellises are currently being used. We have our main tomato bed, and this one has just gone really crazy. We've actually pulled some leaves off to add some airflow to, but it is basically using each other as a trellis along with the trellis to grow. So we have some atomic grapes that are growing. I got some flowers. We're gonna have to go in here and like trim out some leaves later on the lower ends. And then we have some of these, they're like cherry snacking tomatoes. We're getting a few fruits. So it's gonna be almost like a treasure hunt in here. They're basically trellising themselves, which is awesome. So I'll have to dig around a little bit. We do have a marigold in there. But the plants, I mean, are super healthy, which is great. We'll just have to do a little pruning on the back end because we've had, again, just so much rain that growth has been going crazy. And then we have some of our beefsteaks. Again, we got some good fruit on here. Look at them. And we have some heirloom beefsteak tomatoes in this bed. So we got some good fruit in the back there. There's basil. This basil is actually, I'm gonna pinch off because it's actually flowering already. So that's crazy. So we'll have some fresh basil. We can freeze it, dry it. We got basil everywhere. And then we have some of the Cherokee purple. There's one over here that's really nice. Big old fruits down there. So we're just gonna monitor because again, it has rained so much. We don't want that cracking to occur when it just expands so much. Got more fruit back here. Ooh, this one's got a lot. Look at that clump right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was like a dozen tomatoes just right there in that center. Not counting these ones. Awesome. And we have some feverfew also growing in there. Some marigolds. Some of our California poppies are still kicking it on the outside. That's one of the reasons we have not really weeded around the outside of the garden is because flowers are just popping up everywhere. Butterflies. Planted some small plugs of milkweeds like 2 years ago, and these are finally taking off. So that shows you the truth behind like a lot of native plants when you plant them. There's like a saying, just like the first year they'll sleep, the second year they'll creep, and the third year they'll leap. So the third year we're here and they're finally leaping out, getting there. So we can't wait to get some flowers, and this is really to attract the butterflies and the monarchs. And we actually have some that we planted out in the orchard as well that we've seen come out. So super looking forward to that. Just have to remember not to weed eat around this side of the bed. We're gonna pick some strawberries. We've been picking quite a lot the past few weeks. So we're just going in, taking some more. These are everbearing variety. I believe they're festival. And so they are doing really well. We applied some good fertilizer early on in the year and they've really come on strong. And so we have we even have some new flowers, which are good. Getting some handful, and I like to pick them when they're almost totally red. So they may still have a little white on them. That's just because there's some, grasshoppers and birds that like to share.
We don't like to share.
We're not strawberry sharers.
But they still come through. And then we have some pepper plants in here.
And then like there's some rotten ones. We throw it in the compost. And the chickens love it. Chickens love it. Peppers feel good. That was eaten. Muggy bugs that ate them. There you go, chickens. Gonna bring our basket inside while we check on the overflow garden behind the container. And hopefully we don't have any, I know we're gonna have little bugs, but that's part of it. We're back in the area where we planted our Roselle hibiscus, and we have some more coming up. We seeded a lot. So they're finally coming up. Chickens have also been in here creating havoc. We did have them caged for a little bit, so we're hoping that they start growing really fast once the heat kicks in. But we just have to monitor the chickens because they think it's their like smorgasbord of food. They use it for a dust area as well. And then we use one of our overflow beds where the chickens also come in. You can see where they've made the little dust bed, but we have some chamomile and we have some lavender. So the chamomile is doing pretty good. So Juana's been harvesting the flowers in the morning. So we got more to harvest tomorrow, but we do have, thing is we have a lot of issues with fire ants. That's why we haven't used this bed. So we tried to cut that down. Fire ants have just migrated over, so that's one of the struggles why we don't plant a lot of stuff in ground, is because fire ants love to just move around and eat everything. Then you put your hand in the ground and you're like, why is my hand burning? It's because now it's become a snack for fire ants. In what we call a berry patch garden, because it's primarily blueberries, but as you can see, our cover crops have taken over. We actually did a chop and drop a lot of the cover crops, which had greens, cereal grains in there, radishes, things like that. And we've actually left some of the radish leaves, mustard seeds, and green leaves because we can harvest those and eat those. But they're growing, they're actually doing really well by themselves. We have some tomatoes in here that we've caged up. I believe these are our super Sue tomatoes. They are fruiting out, doing well. There's no blossom end rot, which is good. We also have sown different areas some more watermelon, because as you know, last year we did watermelon and it just became a living mulch. So we're hoping for that again this year. You can see our cover crops of clover. We have some vetch and peas, and then we also have some cereal grains. And so these are going to be, I believe they're a type of oat. So we may have like a handful of oats that we can have some oatmeal with. Pretty cool. And adding nutrients to the soil when we chop them. But yeah, just looking now, going through, checking on the tomatoes, checking on the greens. We'll check the blueberries. We got a nice handful of blueberries, but they won't be able to be picked, I don't know, probably till June. We planted a thornless blackberry in here. That's doing well. And then more watermelon. So our watermelon seeds are coming up, sprouting and germinating. Got some good tomatoes. A lot more tomatoes than last year at this time, which is awesome. And I know we have mustard and turnips, and I don't know which one is which until I eat this, but we also can feed these to the geese, and they like it too. I think this is a type of either a daikon radish or something, but super crispy. We have some sneaky visitors that are wondering what we're doing. They can't come in here. So this is really good. This is almost like a, doesn't taste like as peppery as a turnip leaf. So I'm wondering if it's like kohlrabi or something like that. Tastes very good. It's definitely not mustard. Those grains look pretty cool. Little kernels. I don't know if they're oats or what type. I have to check the package. But pretty neat. Let's see if the chickens will eat them. What is that? It's a type of grain. There you go. Yummy. You don't like that one? You'll eat that one though. Yummy, yummy. You're just picking them and dropping them. You're silly. No, you like them when they're drier? All right. I'm just letting you know we got these. We're at our overflow garden behind the container, and this is where we put a lot of our rest of our tomatoes in ground. And no, it doesn't look that impressive, but for our first time doing in ground really on purpose this year, that these beefsteaks have taken off really well. And again, we're not going to trellis these or do anything. We're just going to lay them like they are. And in between the rows, we have some watermelon coming up if the chickens don't eat them. So once they get going, we have our moon and stars coming in. We have crimson sweets. So we have some in this row. We have 2 in here. And then we have another 2 here and there. So again, we're hoping this becomes some living mulch pretty soon. And then we have another new variety coming out that we planted this year. This was an area that we had seeded with some of our cover crop as well that we chopped and dropped in. Some stuff is growing back, like our peas and some of the turnips, which is okay and cool. Some tomatoes did not survive. That's expected because they were, again, super leggy that we buried. So again, we have some atomic grapes. We have a couple of Roma tomatoes because a lot of the Roma tomatoes did not germinate or do well this year. So we're gonna have more snacking tomatoes, I think, and more sandwich slicing tomatoes this year. And then we have a couple rows of things that have not come up yet. This one is new. I think this is our other watermelon row. Some have come up. You can see there. So I think this is also half crimson sweet and half moon and stars. So we got a few that have germinated, and these are the seeds that we saved from our own from last year. So maybe some of the seeds were not viable or mature yet. We also have our pumpkins coming along nicely, and then a few zucchinis. And this is again because it is not fenced off. Rabbits and chickens have been the culprits. So a few zucchini left, and then a couple roselle that have actually germinated on the perimeter. So if things survive, we will have a couple more roselle out here. But again, the chickens think everything is theirs to eat. We thought we lost these asparagus because we ended up mowing over things, but I know I planted 3 crowns here. We're gonna let these fern out again. And then hopefully next year we have some spears that we can harvest. Because I don't think the chickens like these. So when we harvest our onions and garlic and things from our raised beds, our plan is to plant some slips for sweet potatoes in the raised beds instead of here, because this is where we had the issue last year of the moles and voles just decimating them. And then we're also going to do some winter squash, butternut squash and acorn squash in there as well, because we love that. It lasts a long time throughout the season, even when we harvest. So let us know what you're planting that is super nutrient dense that you love to have every single year. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you so much for spending time in the garden with us. We love harvesting with you and just sharing a little bit of what our garden has looked like. Some good things, some struggles.
So far. I'm not going to say it because I don't want it to jinx.
Don't say it. Don't say it. It's never easy. Just don't say it. Don't say it. We have chickens.
Chickens will
they've
take care.
destroyed a lot.
They will take care of it. They destroy, but they also do good work.
Yes, they've eaten a good chunk of bugs. Let's just leave it at that. But thank you so much for watching.
And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And as always, as Midnight is saying, you are awesome and you are loved.
Until next time.